Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Money Matters Top Tips for Success, where each and every day I bring on new business owners, entrepreneurs, and executives and have them share their top tips for success with you. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, moneymatterstoptips.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today I have Dan Harris on the line, and he's owner and digital marketing manager over at Profits Marketing Group. Dan, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Adam. Thanks for having me.
So I'm excited to get more into what you're doing over at Profits Marketing Group and how you're helping your clients. But before we do that, let's get a little bit further into your background. So how did you get started in your career and in business?
Sure. Well, actually, I kind of started in an unusual way. My formal background education-wise, I have undergraduate and graduate education in healthcare. And I actually worked in that industry for about a dozen years or so. And long story short, I reached a point in my career where the only opportunity for advancement, for the most part, was for me to become an administrator. And I had little kids at the time, and it just wasn't in the cards for me because I felt like I wanted to be a bigger part of their life. And so I didn't want to become an administrator. And back in those days, as a kind of a part-time thing, I used to do a little bit of marketing as kind of a hobby. I knew how to build websites from way back in the old Wild West days when you actually had to write the code to build the sites. And now anybody can build the sites. Yeah. So fast forward, in late 2009, around 2010, myself and the co-founder of our agency kind of had an epiphany and said, you know what? We know how to do marketing. We obviously both know healthcare. That was our background. And we said, let's just dive in and start our own marketing agency. And not surprisingly, our first half a dozen clients were in the healthcare and medical fields because that's kind of what we knew.
Wow, that's quite a background, and I like how you. I like how you transitioned. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are listening to this right now that have, they have strong background in different niches, different fields, and they're thinking about going the entrepreneurial route. Might not be marketing, it could be other things, right? They could be creating a device. They could be trying to solve some other problem that's just kind of been nagging them within their industry and field. So that being said, you obviously took it a step further. So sometimes people have an idea, and that idea just sits or it dies. You took action, and you took that idea and you created a business with it. So speaking to some of those that are maybe a little bit further behind and are just at that idea stage as professionals, what kind of advice would you give to that person that's in that situation that's thinking about actually making a go at it and starting their idea and making it into a business? Because I know that's not easy.
No, you're right. And in full disclosure, when I decided to do it, it scared the heck out of me because I was leaving something that was stable and secure and something that obviously I knew I was going to have a traditional job as long as I wanted it, and I was leaving for something that was the unknown. So I think my first piece of advice to anybody that's on the fence or considering that would be, if you're going to make that jump, make it part way. And by that what I mean is, I don't recommend that you just go and quit your day job and start an entrepreneurial adventure without a backup plan. So the way that I didn't do it, but I would recommend people do, is to kind of maybe start their entrepreneurial adventure as a part-time gig while they're still working their job until they feel that they're secure enough and they have enough momentum that then they can make that transition fully.
I love it. Let's switch it up a bit, Dan. I want to get into what you're doing over at Profits Marketing Group. So you hinted and you said, you started in healthcare. So let's just build on that. So tell me a little bit more about the business, please.
Yeah, sure. When we started, we were like most marketing agencies. We were doing it all. We were building websites. We were doing social media management, reputation, et cetera, and again with kind of the target niche at that point being healthcare and medical professionals. Fast forward a couple of years, myself and my co-founder kind of realized, gosh, this is way too much to stay on top of. And more importantly, there were areas of it that just quite frankly, we didn't have a passion for. It just was drudgery. So we decided a couple of years in to switch things up and say, you know what, the two areas that we do well and that we really enjoy doing, one was video. And the other one is digital advertising. For example, running advertising campaigns on Facebook, on Google, on YouTube. So those now are the two areas of strength in our agency. That's pretty much what we do as a full-time venture. And so we help businesses who maybe have no presence online develop one by creating videos on their behalf. And that's something I have a lot of passion for. I even teach workshops teaching small business owners, entrepreneurs how to do it. So that's, and we've kind of broadened a little bit further where healthcare is not, it's still our strong suit, but we now work with more professional niches. For example, we have a number of legal clients. We have clients in like financial services and mortgage industries, real estate. We typically don't work a lot with, say, retail or e-commerce or some of the smaller type businesses, though.
So, Dan, if somebody's listening to this and they fall into that kind of that niche of client that you work with, or I should say, what is that niche of client? What kind of clients is the sweet spot for you to work with? So, if somebody's listening and they want to follow up, they know they're a good fit.
Yeah, well, I would say for us, and quite honestly, I'm one of the first ones that if I feel when I'm talking with a prospective client that we're not a fit for them, I'm going to be completely candid about that because I want the relationship to be genuine, and I want to feel that we can help them. So in our case, it's primarily professional services. So like I mentioned a few of them, but people who are in industries like real estate and mortgage, any type of legal professional. We've worked with estate planning and probate attorneys and criminal defense attorneys, and then certainly people in medical or healthcare fields as well would be perfect fits for us and what we do. And in terms of the size of the business, we've worked with businesses everything from essentially startups or very, very young businesses to those that, maybe have 200 to 500 employees that are kind of a medium-sized business. We don't typically work with the big giant conglomerates, quite frankly, because they've got bigger budgets than we can handle. So it's more the medium to small business owners.
That's awesome. What do you find that are some of the pain points, or should I say the themes of what these business owners are doing incorrectly? And I know that's going to change from company to company, but I know the more companies you work with, certain themes arise, and as soon as you bring someone in, you're like, oh, I know exactly what we can do. What are some of those things they're doing wrong right now, would you say?
Yeah, well, a couple of things. I would say, unfortunately, over the last 2 to 3 years in terms of digital marketing, the organic side of marketing has really changed, meaning being able to put things up on social media or blogging. Now, while those are still great practices, they don't kind of get the same bang for the buck that they used to get. And a lot of that is because the algorithms on a lot of these social media platforms have changed. So what I would say is a lot of business owners now should be considering going the paid traffic route and running advertising campaigns. And a lot of them are hesitant to do that because they assume they don't have the budget. So that's mistake number one. It actually can be done at a very, very low entry point for a budget, and it can really provide traction for you almost right away. Then the other piece is just something that makes your mission statement or what you provide to your customers stand out and makes it appear different. And I know there's a lot of noise in the digital world, so it's hard to do that. But kind of grab hold of those one or two things that your business does really, really well and you have a passion for, and make sure that your marketing message mirrors that and is describing it to your audience and say, hey, look, this is what we do really well and we can do this for you.
That's awesome. So, Dan, if somebody is listening to this and they do want more information on Profits Marketing Group, what's the best way for them to reach out?
Yeah, there's a couple of options. Certainly, I'm very active on LinkedIn, so if somebody wanted to connect with me directly, on LinkedIn, I'm listed as Dan Harris Digital Marketing, so you could find me that way. We're on Facebook as Profits Marketing Group, and then our website is also profitsmarketinggroup.com, so you can be reached any of those ways.
Perfect. Well, hey, Dan, really appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing more about your background and all the great work you're doing over at Profits Marketing Group to help your clients. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. I hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, share this with your friends and family. I mean, do all those great things we do to support our podcasters. I really do appreciate it. And Dan, thanks again for coming on the show.